Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and a man rapidly running out of storage space. It's too late. Random review is about to begin.
Before we begin, thank you very much to Very Terry, which is spelled Pateri. So I'm assuming it's like Pteranodon, Pterodactyl, P is silent. I'm assuming it is. But thank you very much for joining the Patreon campaign. I really do appreciate it very much. Thank you to everyone who is pitching in. Like I said, January sucked for revenue. So I thank everyone for helping me get through it. If you continue to support and do so, and we make it to the end of the month over 600, I'll be forced to review all of Beast Machines. Not the most pleasant of experiences, but if you want it, you get it. So I will do that as a thank you for the continued support. All right. You might be wondering, why are we talking about Kingdom Airazor in 2023? We're talking about a Kingdom toy that is now around 2 years old. It's hardly the most relevant thing to talk about. So let's get this straight. I can't compete with the channels that steal their content out of factories, so I am always behind the 8 ball when it comes to doing toy reviews. You know, by the time I get a toy in hand, it's already been out there, the opinion has already been made, everyone has already seen it, and it's old news. So what can I do? What can me, little old toy reviewer who refuses to, participate in black markets in order to get attention? I will try my best to be creative about it. So we have Studio Series Airazor coming out soon, and that is essentially the same toy as Kingdom Airazor. So I figure if we talk about Kingdom Airazor now, the people who skipped out on the toy or the people who are curious about it now because the movie's coming out and the character appears in the movie will have some kind of basis or some kind of understanding of what they're going to be in for when it comes to that toy. Does that make sense? Does it make sense? Because it probably doesn't, but we're going to go with it anyway, because I need to talk about this figure for particular reasons. Now, of course, we are looking at the traditional Airazor from Beast Wars. It is a Falcon Beast mode, which looks quite cool. Very, very nice. So we get our avian friends correct here. I believe, yes, Falcon for her, Eagle for Silverbolt, not that Silverbolt, the other Silverbolt. I'll talk about him in a bit. So, as you can see, it is a toy that is cast mostly in this very pale shade of brown in order to get some kind of authentic look to the Beast mode. It's a little bit paler than the Beast mode was in the show, so maybe not the most cartoon accurate. But for Kingdom, they really were trying to be as accurate to the animals as they could while still looking like the familiar figure. So the end result is something that's a bit of a blend. It's basically like a lightish hue for Airazor, which doesn't look bad, just maybe not quite as close as I would want. I still never got the dark feathered version repaint that I was really hoping for, but we'll take what we can get. So beyond that, there is some orange sculpted in. You can see that for her feet. You can also see it exposed on a lot of the underside. I think this is what killed the toy for a lot of people, and why it kind of shelf warmed is that it's pretty much just the robot mode kind of tucked in on the torso and doing a power squat. You know, that it's not much of a transformation, admittedly. Now, we give it a little bit of slack. Bird Transformers don't have a whole lot of physical mass to work with, especially when you're also trying to represent a Beast Wars character, especially from Season 1, because Season 1 Beast Wars characters cheated a lot on their transformations. So to get it somewhat accurate and looking good in both modes, sacrifices will have to be made. So what's good about the mold, if we take a look past that, is, well, for starters, just detailing, because they did a lot of work on this toy to get the sculpting right. You can see the paint deco done really, really well across the beak and the face, looking quite a bit like an actual bird, which is, kind of what I expect out of a toy bird. And then we look at the wings, where all of the feathers are very intricately sculpted. All this, you can feel the texture on it, so it actually has that that feel of an actual bird wing. A little bit of airbrushing to give it a little bit of detail and definition on the back. Really, really well done. Tons of sculpting in order to make this as accurate and authentic as possible. Kingdom was really insistent on getting the texture of its beast modes correct. So like skin tone, fur tone, in this case, feather tone. Done very, very well. So they tried really, really hard to get that right. The other part about this, and this is the part that I really feel like makes the toy shine and really makes it excel, is just how much natural posability you have with the bird modes. So for starters, you do have a beak that can open its mouth, or beak, what am I saying? It can open its jaw and close it as well, of course. The head itself does hinge downward as well as rotate, so you have a lot of posability you can get out of the head of the beast. Down to the legs, they have the digitigrade spot, so you can actually angle them at the body, you can angle them at that knee and then the ankle. So all of that done really, really well. Lots of posability there. It's the wings that I love on this toy. Look at this. Look at the, just from what I've done here, look at that subtle, like, slope. Look at that subtle curve that gives it much more, like, realistic look to it. I love all of these hinges that the wings are made of. You can put kind of like, you can put these like little natural bends in them to give it the look of different levels of flapping or soaring through the air. And the thing I like most is you can actually tuck the wings up and wrap them around the beast mode, so you can also perch Airazor. Isn't that cool? So like typically bird transformers, like the wings are these solid pieces of plastic and you can't do anything with them. They're just there on the back, or the bird is always in flight. So the fact that you can actually get some range of possibility with Airazor, I think is a really cool design detail, and really makes it shine. The beast modes for Kingdom and now in the subsequent toy lines have been really stand out as far as just having actual features and articulation to them. But Airazor, I think, just absolutely nails it. Like what a bird toy has to do, she does. And she does it really, really well. So how does she do as a robot toy? Well, that we need to transform in order to figure out. So let's open up the wings again. We'll get them nice and wide open because, well, the cool stuff's coming a little bit later. So, like we said, it's not the most complicated transformations. I'm going to unpeg the thighs like so and swing them down. You can see where I have mounted her weapons for the time. They are removable, of course, because that is on a 5mm point. So we'll go ahead and get those off just so because we're going to have to put them in the right place later. Rotate the bird feet around in order to create the robot feet, and then untuck the arms. Flip up the shoulder pads. Got that going. All right. Straighten up the arms. Like so. All right. We're going to open up the back side here, and we're going to flip the bird mode head forward, and the robot mode head will come out the back. If I've gotten this right. Yep. Yeah, a little bit stiff on mine, but it does go that way. And now we need to take this double hinge that's buried in her lower back, and we need to hinge it all the way down here. Once it's down, you'll be able to peg the falcon head into the torso, solidifying that. Oh, well, I guess I have to also rotate the waist and then rotate just above the knees to finish up her transformation. So yeah, like I said, not a whole lot to the transformation itself. Fairly simple in that regard, but what you are getting is, it's a pretty clean figure. And it's a really, it's an intuitive transformation that doesn't need to do too much, but it's not like a boring transformation. It's just, kind of by the numbers. Let's put it that way. I don't think that even makes sense. But nevertheless, I don't mind it. I don't really mind it. All right. So looking at Airazor here in robot mode, obviously a lot more orange is now showing through, gives her a lot more color and definition. A little bit of gray painted around, especially around the thighs and the upper arms. So you get a little bit more color as well as some gold poking through here and there. You get a really nice color palette with her. Like I think just that that pale brown that she is mostly made from just really makes this pop a lot better. So I think it's not a bad call to go with. Still wish it was the darker colors, but you know, I'll take it. So we take a close look at the head, and the sculptors did a fantastic job on this one, getting the likeness right for Airazor. She has something of a complicated head sculpt in the cartoons, so the fact that they've done such a good job getting as close as they did, I think is a really big standout point for the toy's design. Looks really, really nice to me. It's got her purple face and everything. Got the green on the eyes. Just ready anytime Tigatron wants to ask her out, right? So, looking at her over, again, the proportions on the toy, quite nice. She is very thin and svelte, but that's basically how she was in the show. So that's about as correct as you can get. If we look and take a look from the side, yeah, she has a wing backpack, but you can see she is a very clean Transformer. No junk hanging anywhere, no real kibble to talk about. The wings are, you know, kind of accurate to how she looks. Now, of course, you're saying, like, in the show, the wings on her back are actually pretty small in robot mode, and these are pretty big wide out there. Well, yes, they are. So if you want the wings out to give her flight poses, you know, you are capable of doing that, and that is cool. And you might want to, because they did add this nice little airbrush white tip to the underside of the wings. Gives it a little bit more of a little bit more definition and a little bit more flourish for the robot mode's version of the wings. However, I hear your complaints. So we're going to go to the back now. See all these lovely hinges that give us so much like subtle posability in the beast mode? Yeah, now we can use those to just kind of fold everything up all over the place as we will. And the lovely thing about this is there's a few different ways that you can fold the wings up and hide them onto her back. But in a specific configuration, you're going to get a tab that goes into these peg holes right here. If you fold them up in that direction, make sure those are nice and secure on there. What you're going to get is an Airazor with a much cleaner and smaller profile. Not, you know, still again, not nearly as small as the wings are in the cartoon, but for the toy, I feel like it does a great job of cleaning them up and giving her a much smaller silhouette, and so something that's a little bit more appropriate for her svelte design. You know, bulks up the back a little bit as far as kibble goes, but I think the payoff and the trade-off is really, really good. And I love that they even give you that option. So again, where I feel like the transformation is simple, but the engineering that it allows because it is simple, such as the hinges and all that on the wings, I think makes it a worthwhile choice. And I do think that they put their attention in the right direction. So yeah, big fan of how they handled the toy. So, articulation. This is the nice part. So, ball joint in the head. Everything rotates very nicely. She has a lot of look up. So, if you want to have her in flight poses, she's capable of that too. Shoulders, universal. So, they have a full range of motion. 360 on the bicep joint. The elbow, very, very nice at the 90 degree. Very nice, very nice. A little bit beyond the 90, actually. Waist joint. Waist works quite well. Everything there, nice and smooth. Universal hip joints as well. Thighs rotate all the way around. Knees, look at that bend. Look at the bend on the knees. And then, yeah, ball joint in the ankle, which gives her a lot of range of posability in there. The one part about her that you're going to have to watch out for as you articulate her is going to be these digitigrade points, because they can be a little bit loose, especially on the right one on mine. The left one's a little bit more solid, strangely enough, but that might give you a little bit of trouble. And then, of course, if you need to arm up your Airazor, you can always snap her rockets onto the forearms. Now, they're considerably bigger than the little missiles that she had in the show, but I like the fact that they stand out a lot more this way. So she does have some little bit of armament. And now, of course, you can put those in her hands as well if you want them as hand weapons. You can put them back on her thighs if you want those to actually, be like side holstered weapons. But that, my friends, is going to give you your Kingdom Airazor. I think a lot of people skipped out on this toy because it just looked weird. The beast mode looked weird and the transformation just looked too simple, but I think you missed a gem if you skipped out on this the first time. It is a lovely toy that allows a lot of functionality in places where Transformers typically don't have it. So in that regard, I think it is a worthwhile toy to exist and to actually pick up should you have the chance. We have the Studio Series version for Rise of the Beast coming out, and as long as that engineering remains the same, I think you're still going to get a very interesting toy experience out of it that most bird Transformers kind of skip. And you do have other options when it comes to this toy. Of course, the Skywarp remold is something that exists. You can find it at liquidation stores now. And yeah, like maybe at some point we'll even see a Blue Bolt, if you know who that is. But, you know, that would actually be a very different and interesting deco. And I don't normally expect them to produce something like that. So, yeah, probably not going to happen. But yeah, if you skip the toy the first time, pick it up in Studio Series. You might actually like it. Excuse me, I've burned my throat out again. I got to go get water. So, thanks for watching. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.